I got the moves. I got the moves. I'm making moves. You gotta move. You gotta make the city move. Like, whoa. I make the city move. I got the move.
With the NBA season being confirmed to be gone for at least the next month and having a realistic return date of mid to late June, I think it's okay I make some videos I was planning to make once the regular season and playoffs wrapped up. That leads me to today's video. Before the season started, every team had an expectation, a sort of goal many fans expected them to achieve or reach over the season. The 4 teams in today's video did not do that whatsoever, and I'll be looking at their seasons in today's video and seeing why they may have had the disappointing year they had. If you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this, but with that being said, let's get right into this top 4.
Lucas.
Number 4, the San Antonio Spurs. Before the season started, the expectations weren't insanely high for the San Antonio Spurs. With that being said though, they weren't low either, and many people had them finishing either at the bottom of the playoff picture or just outside of it, so around the 7th to 9th seed. However, after a rough start to the season, and then a small bounce back midway through, the Spurs have rounded out their season as the 12th seed, finishing with a record of 27-36, for now at least. This would be Greg Popovich's first playoff miss in decades, and one of his first under 500 seasons in a while too. Demar Derozan led the team in scoring with 22 a game, but shot pretty average overall. A great 52% from the field, sure, but he was shocking from behind the arc, shooting 26% from there. However, that was only on 0.5 attempts per game, so that makes up for it a bit, as he wasn't shooting many at all. For why the Spurs disappointed this season, it really falls on the roster to me. The roster was one of the worst it's been in a long time, and Demar Derozan just failed to slide in efficiently into the offense. The team just didn't mesh to me. Apart from Derozan, Aldridge, and maybe Patty Mills and DeJounte Murray, the roster was extremely lackluster in terms of depth, and players that arguably deserve more playtime, like Lonnie Walker, didn't receive what they deserved, causing disappointing seasons individually. With DeMar DeRozan entering free agency if he chooses to this summer, and with Greg Popovich's time seeming up, it seems like the competitive era of San Antonio is coming to a close. However, I believe there is a lot to look forward to with this organization, with the potential of Tim Duncan taking over as head coach and guys like Lonnie Walker showing signs of breaking out. This was a pretty poor season by San Antonio standards, and it was overall disappointing, but I think they have a lot to look forward to these upcoming years. Number 3. The Detroit Pistons. The Pistons had a rough year. After being swept in one of the least competitive playoff series I've ever seen the year before, Detroit could just not seem to bounce back. Blake Griffin got injured earlier on in the season, and this caused a major downfall in the standings. Detroit finished 13th this year, with a record of 20-46, only half a game clear of the 14th seed Atlanta Hawks, and this of course led to the trade of Andre Drummond. So, why did things go so horribly wrong? Well, there's a few reasons why to me. The first is obviously the Blake Griffin injury. Without this, I think it's very likely the Pistons finish around the 9th or 10th seed, and perhaps even scrape into the 8th seed yet again. I think people forget just how good and positively impactful Griffin is, and his absence has obviously played a major role in this season's disappointment. The lack of wins due to his absence piled on, and with the losing culture Detroit was building, they had to end up trading their star center, Andre Drummond, this deadline, as he enters free agency this year, and they didn't want to lose him for nothing. To be frank, the trade was pretty pointless, as what they got in return was pretty useless, but something is better than nothing, I guess. This trade led to the realization that the organization was going full rebuild mode, and that's where they are at now. They were in the middle earlier this season, a place with no direction. They were too good to get a high draft pick, but too bad to be a contender. Eventually, Detroit has given in, and they are now officially a rebuilding team. With the off-season looming for the Pistons, it seems like they will need to make a decision about the future of their organization and particularly what they want to do with Blake Griffin. Is there a point in keeping him around, especially with the emergence of Christian Wood? We'll have to see what they do, but this next year is going to be a turning point for Detroit. What they decide to do will heavily affect their future success and how they operate from now on. This season was vastly disappointing, and unfortunately, a devastating injury has caused a negative domino effect for the organization, causing them to be diminished into the top of the lottery for now. They have some bright spots, but unfortunately, there's a long road ahead to success for the Pistons franchise. Number 2, the Portland Trailblazers. The Blazers had a phenomenal season last year. They finished 3rd in the West and went to the Western Conference Finals, where they would lose to a Curry-led Golden State Warriors. However, hopes were still high for the Blazers for the next season, and though many did not hold them to that level again, many still expected them to be a playoff lock and compete for a home court seat. Well, that hasn't happened at all. Mainly due to injuries and a shocking start to the season, the Blazers have fallen out of playoff contention and really only were in the race for the 8th seed in the last month, but as it seems, it's looking like they'll fail to make the playoffs. This is incredibly disappointing. Yes, you could say that the Blazers overachieved last season, and I personally believe they did as well, but I don't think they should have had this big of a drop-off. Coming into the season, I had them finishing around 6th or 7th, pushing 5th, depending on how good some of these new duos would turn out to be. But unfortunately for the Blazers, everyone on the squad except Damian Lillard had an awful year. CJ McCollum was extremely inconsistent and didn't look like that perennial all-star we are used to seeing. And even though Carmelo Anthony was actually a really solid addition, he was too inconsistent at times as well. Hassan Whiteside could not fill the hole Nurkic's injury left, and young guys like Anthony Simmons failed to take that next step that would make them solid contributors to this team. Overall, injuries and inconsistency led to the downfall and disappointment of the Trailblazers this season. If the playoffs don't start straight away after the suspension ends and the Blazers make it, it's all on the back of Damian Lillard. Lillard has been way too good this season, and unfortunately, his campaign has been a bit underrated due to the lack of team success. He was one of the most fun players to watch this season, dropping 50 points on the regular, but again, his team has let him down, and it has caused for an unprecedented drop-off by the Trailblazers, a missed playoff berth, and an overall very disappointing season. Number 1, Philadelphia 76ers. The Philadelphia 76ers have to be by far the most disappointing team of the 2020 NBA season. Coming into it, this team had championship aspirations. Many saw them as favourites to come out of the East, especially considering they were just one shot away from the Eastern Conference Finals the year before. However, people underestimated the loss of Jimmy Butler and the kind of direction the franchise would be going in. With Jimmy Butler gone, it left the two superstars in Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and from pretty early on, it was easy to see the struggles the two had together. They were obviously great friends off the court, but on the court, their play styles clashed, and they really just held each other back. They overall just struggled to coexist. This was seen when Embiid was injured and Simmons flourished, averaging close to 24 points and 10 assists during that stretch. Ben was killing every team he played during that time. And we saw the vice versa just recently, with Embiid playing really well to finish off the season before the suspension while Simmons was out. More problems arose though with other teammates, such as Al Horford, who had one of his worst seasons to date, and guys like Tobias Harris, who are known to be efficient shooters, just could not get their shot to fall throughout the season. You know where it goes from here. The 76ers finished the season as the 6th seed with a record of 39-26 and have finished with a terrible record on the road, though their record at home was really good. Overall, here is what is so disappointing about the 76ers season to me and what caused it, and not only why they're the most disappointing team this season, but also one of the most disappointing teams in the last decade. Coming into the season, many expected the 76ers to be in a dogfight with the Bucks for the crown of the East, but they fell short exponentially. They failed to do any sort of damage away from home, and the loss of Jimmy Butler impacted them a lot more than expected. It was realized during the season that Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid could not work together efficiently, especially with the team Philly has currently built, and it's fair to say the all-star guys they signed on to contribute had some of the worst seasons of their career. Cough cough, Al Horford. Whether it's more so the coaching staff's fault for creating a poor game plan, who knows, but this season was just terrible by all metrics for the 76ers. Now as the offseason approaches, the 76ers must make a decision. Is it time to trade Embiid or Simmons, or do they run it back? And if they are trading someone, who will it be? There are some tough times ahead for Elton Brand and his crew, and it will be the biggest test of their careers. The 76ers had so much potential to be great this season, and it's all gone to waste, making it one of the most disappointing NBA seasons in recent memory. But that will conclude the top 4. What do you guys think of this? What team disappointed you the most this season? Did I miss any teams? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I am out. Peace.